Hey Stampers, this is Kelly Acheson coming to you from Menasha, Wisconsin. Today I have a really fun card to show you. I think it turned out really elegant and I chose to make it a sympathy card, but it could certainly be an all occasion card or a thank you card or a wedding card, whatever you happen to need. And I've got some masking techniques in here and some fun embellishments. And then on the inside, we've got this. So some real fun things to show you and some great stamping tips. So let's get started. This was one of my must-have bundles from the brand new catalog. It's called Flourishing Phrases. You get both of these stamp sets with these beautiful images in there, and then lots of greetings. We've got wedding, we've got sympathy, congratulations, I love you, thank you, and some general greetings in here. This is just beautiful. And along with this bundle, you get these Thinlits that are absolutely gorgeous. The detail on them is amazing. So I'm going to show you how best to use these to make it as easy as it can get. So let's get started on our card. Okay, so first of all, our layers. I am using the thick Whisper white cardstock here for my card base. I've cut it 11 by 4 1/4 and scored it at 5 1/2. And then I have a piece of basic black that's 4 by 5 1/4. A piece of regular Whisper white that is 3 7/8 by 5 1/8. And our little greeting banner layer, which is 1 by 2 1/2. First thing we're going to do here is we are going to get out our Versamark ink pad, and we're going to use the big flowery viney image. Look at how dirty that is. Don't worry about your Versamark pads getting dirty. They work fabulously regardless of whether they're brand new or look like mine do. They are used a lot and loved. So you're going to stamp your vine about right here on your card layer. One thing I forgot to tell you is you might want to wipe your card with an embossing buddy. I already did that, but you're going to just wipe this all over, and that'll keep your embossing powder from sticking to places where you don't want it to, and then it kind of makes a mess out of everything. And I've chosen to put my clear embossing powder in a little container like this where I can just leave the spoon in there and put the lid on it. I just find that that's easier. And I'm just going to dump my embossing powder on here. And then it's easier to just tip it back into the bowl too. And we're going to heat set this with our heat tool. Just leave your heat tool in one place until it gets heated up, and you can tilt your card and see when the embossing powder is melting. It'll turn glossy. You don't need to wave it around and do this. That's crazy. So I'm going to do this and I'll be back in just a second. I'll show you right at the end what I've got going on here. It's really hard to see white on white, but I hope you can see this turning glossy. Once you think that you have it all embossed, you want to just kind of tilt it in the light like this and make sure there are no dull areas to your stamped image and embossing powder. So I am going to put my post-it note, so it's about 1/4 of an inch from the edge of my cardstock. And it's really important that you kind of hold this up in the light and make sure that you're getting this on there with the same margin straight all the way across. And it's really easy to do. I thought it was going to be kind of tricky when I thought of this idea, but it really wasn't too bad. And we're going to do the same margin on the right side. So I'm holding this up in the light to make sure that I've got it straight here. And I just think this adds a lot of cool interest to the card. You know, this is an emboss resist technique. We've done that before, but this is just a little bit different in that we're putting margins on the top and the right side. So I am taking my Pool Party ink and I'm just going to come in here and sponge that over the front of my card, and you can see how the embossing powder is resisting the ink. Embossing powder doesn't allow the ink to stick to it, so that's where you get the emboss resist technique, right? And one other little tip, when you're sponging, when you dip your sponge into your ink pad, you now have a lot of ink on here. When I put this on my paper, I have a very light touch on it until some of the ink dissipates onto the paper, and then I start pushing a little harder. That'll keep you from getting globs of ink all over the place, which I think is very unattractive unless that's a look you're going for. Okay, so we have that finished now, and let's reveal it. Isn't that pretty? I just think that is so neat looking. Okay, on for the rest of our card here. I've got 3 of my Thinlits that I'm going to use to embellish my card. And I'm going to run these through the Big Shot all at the same time with 2 different colors of cardstock. And I want to tell you something really important. I know I've said this before. This combination with the magnetic platform, the precision cutting plate, and 1 clear plate is the magic ticket for all of these very intricate dies. I can't stress that enough. I know a lot of people are saying, do I really need those? If you buy these intricate dies, yes, you really need this. It made my life so much easier. I would have not been using these Thinlits as much as I am because they were such a pain to poke all the little things out. So I've got my black here and my pool party here, and I'm just going to run this through. And I like to run mine back through. Sorry, my camera is wiggling, but this is a lot of pressure on here. I run it through and run it back through with these intricate dies. You're going to leave your framelits right on the cardstock. And now I'm bringing in my Big Shot die brush. And this also is a tool that is a must-have. Again, you don't have to poke out all these little things. Do you see how they just fall right out? It's amazing. Again, I would not be using these as often as I do if I did not have this little tool. And it comes with this cushion. Then we're going to bring these in here. And I'm going to get all the little bits out, and I'll be right back. Okay, here we go with our little embellishments that we're going to use. I am going to bring my greeting layer in here and stamp that. I've got Memento black ink here and the With Sympathy. It's always nice to have these on hand when they're needed. And then we're going to cut the banner end out, and I like to do this by cutting in the middle and then in from each edge to that center. That works really good for me. Okay, so I've got this ready. Now this little piece that I cut out here, I am going to go from the end, and I'm going to keep 3 circles and a half a circle. So I just want a little bit of this. So I'm just going to trim off the rest of those circles. And that ends up being super easy. And now we're ready to put this on the back of our sympathy greeting. And I found it was easiest just to put a little glue right here. Then I'm going to set this down so I can see what's going on and bring that right in here. There we go. Perfect. I'm going to put several dimensionals on the back of the sympathy layer because I need to be able to anchor my thread with them. And that's why I'm using so many on here, for Pete's sakes. Wouldn't normally use that many dimensionals, but you'll see why in just a second. You could also use the edge of your dimensionals so you have like a straight line going through there. Now I'm going to take my metallic thread and I am going to wind this around 3 fingers. About 10 times. You get a lot of thread on a roll. And I just love the way it looks. So I'm going to bring this, oops, I'm going to bring this right onto my layer here. And I don't want it to look real uniform. So this looks kind of crazy, and that's exactly what I'm looking for. I'm going to bring it right over here and put it on the side, oops, of my card. Straight. How about straight? Straight is good. Then we're going to put our flowers together. And this is how I did this. You've got so many openings here. I thought, how am I going to glue this down? I am just going to put a little glue around the center of that flower. I'm going to put it right up here. And then I'm also going to put a little glue around the center of my black flower. That was a little too much. And I am going to put that, it fits perfectly right over the bigger flower. Oops, I see I've got a piece there that didn't come out. There we go. Yeah, this fits perfectly right over that flower, so that's pretty cool. And I'm going to take one of our big pearls and put that right in the middle of my flower. And we are almost there. Here comes our black layer. And we're going to add our black layer to the back of this one. We've got a very thin margin here. I just like the way that makes the card pop. Now we're going to do our card base. Use my bone folder to fold it in half. And I wanted to do something kind of fun on the inside of this card. I took this Thinlit and I die cut it out of some white cardstock. And I'm going to place this right over the inside of my card. And we are going to dab at this. We can't really sponge it because of all these little pieces that'll get picked up and bent back. So I'm going to very lightly sponge dab it right over the top of this mask. I've made my own mask here. And I know it kind of looks like there's barely anything here, but once you remove your mask, you've got a very faint image there. If you wanted to leave this blank, you don't have to put a greeting in it, but you can write right over that, which I think is kind of cool. We are going to put the sympathy greeting on the inside here. Praying that your heart will be lifted by the many loving thoughts that surround you today. And last but not least, glue your front on. And here's our finished card. Isn't that pretty? I just love it. Here's our inside. Don't forget to stamp your envelope. Everybody loves a beautiful envelope. Thanks so much for watching this video. If you don't have a Stampin' Up! Demonstrator, I would be thrilled to earn your business. You can send me an email at kelly@astampabove.com. I'd be happy to send you a new catalog. You can also visit my blog, astampabove.com. I've got a ton of stamping ideas on there and a video on every Friday to show you some new type of fun folder technique. I love things that are a little out of the ordinary. Add a little sparkle to someone's day and send them a card.